Hey, and welcome back, Everett County. Join this morning, Robert Saracino. Good morning.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
It's been a while.
Yeah, always a pleasure to have you here and have a good time with you.
And just because I dance in front of you when you're trying to talk over there?
Right. And there's nothing like watching men dance, especially, like this.
Wow.
That's just...
We won't go there.
Got the Veterans Community Blood Drive coming up.
Yes, coming up June 3rd, and it'll be from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. It will be at the American Legion Hall at Sutter Hill. We're going to have a couple of new machines in, so they're going to be changing the donations a little bit. I've forgotten what they've called the machines. They used to be called Trima machines.
Okay.
And it's very peculiar what they do is as they remove your blood, they actually strain the platelets out and then put the fluids back into you, which takes twice as long to donate, and only certain people can do it. And the nurses have a criterion that they screen you by, and instead of giving 6 times a year, you give 3 times a year. So it'll be this is the second time we've done this, but they've changed the protocol and the machines and things. So it's going to be interesting. We'll have 10 beds in there this time instead of 8.
Okay.
We've had we'll have 12 beds in there this time instead of 10. The last 2 blood drives we had 10 beds. Wow. The one in February was exceptional. The previous to February, the best we'd done is 110 units at a drive. Well, we did 113 at that one.
Okay. And
then April, we did 117. So I'm shooting for 120 this time.
Moving on up.
Yes, it's been very good.
Maybe you can tell our viewers why it's important that you continue to have these blood drives.
The shelf life of blood is about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how they break it down. Sometimes it's broken down for plasma, sometimes for platelets. They have 3 different categories that they break it down into, and it just doesn't last. And after a certain period of time, they just must dispose of it. Now, our blood, the blood that's recovered here, is shipped anywhere in California or Western Nevada because of what they call a blood pool, and wherever it's needed is where it goes. And should we have a club like we had an earthquake, well, if we'd had any serious damage, the blood bank would have been drawn heavily upon, of course.
Sure.
And if we had fallen short, then I'd be getting a phone call to set up a extra blood drive, and they would pull from Southern California if they needed it, or further north.
Gotcha. So the blood drive's coming up June 3rd, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. You just stop by any time between those hours?
Just come on in. Hopefully I won't run out of donuts. I'm going to... The last 2 we ran out of donuts.
Right.
I was told about that repetitively.
Okay. Any preparation before giving blood? Do you need to eat before you come in, or how does that work?
Well, be sure you eat a decent breakfast, and especially drink fluids. Not necessarily coffee, but fruit juices and water especially.
Okay.
The more hydrated you are, the easier the blood draw seems to go, and the quicker it goes.
Okay.
I've had some people sit in the chair as little as 7 minutes. They'll get in there, the phlebotomist will scrub them down and poke the needle in there, and they start draining, and 5 to 7 minutes later, they're up out of the chair.
Now, after you give blood, your body replenishes itself with the blood that you
Yes,
gave?
it does, of course. Yeah.
So there's, it's kind of like just going in and maybe saving somebody's life.
Oh, yeah. Right now, apparently they're taking, with the new technology, they're breaking every unit down into 2 units. So if you collect 100 units, you in essence have 200 units of blood to work with. In my case, as you might imagine, I have unusual blood. So they break mine down into 3 or 4 units, and they have to thin it out, I think. There's something about the scotch,
Yeah.
or the vodka. Anyway, And with that many units available, then they can do elective or elective surgeries as opposed to ones that have to be done.
Right.
They can also do experimental ones because they have the blood to
Great.
use.
Well, Robert, thanks for coming in the studio. June 3rd, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. up at the Amateur Legion Post 108 at the Legion Hall. They will have the blood drive. Go see this man, get a donut, give some blood, and save a life.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to run to an ad break. We'll be back. Annalie Belden is here with Susie Miller. Stay tuned.